Okay, so good morning one and all. So in this class we are going to study the next chapter, that is advanced relationships. Okay, that is chapter 10, advanced relationships. So in the previous class we have just learned about advanced classes. So with respect to advanced classes, what are all the things we can give, the classifier, how many types of uh, classifiers are there, what are its description, graphical notation. So the details of those attributes, operations, their syntaxes, again their internal properties. So all that we have learned. So in today's class, so we are going to learn about advanced relationships. So advanced means already we have learned about 4 kinds of relationships. What are they? Anyone? Anyone? What are the 4 kinds of?
Dependency,
Yes,
association, generalization.
and realization. Okay, so these are the 4 things what we have learned. So in basic building blocks we have learned, and in relationships diagram in detail we have learned. So in detail when we learnt about relationships, what we have learned, so dependency, there is nothing much in detail. If there is one change in one thing, it is affecting the other thing, then we can give dependency. Generalization, when we can give, when a parent child relationship or inheritance property is there, generalization we can give. In that relationships chapter, what more we studied about generalization? We studied about single inheritance, single parent, okay, multiple inheritance. So single and multiple inheritances we have learned, okay, and the hierarchy structure of that shape and all. And then association. So in association only we learned more in detail in relationships chapter. What are they? What we have learned? Adornments, if you remember. What are the adornments? First one. What is the adornments? First one we learned in association. Name and direction. Then role. Then multiplicity. And then fourth one is aggregation. Aggregation, if it is emphasized, it is called as composition. Okay. And then realization, it's just the normal definition. So if a system is realized by a particular user, then that is what we call it as realization. And the refinements relationships means what more? Say suppose these are the general things what we have learned. But here the dependency, just giving dependency between two things is not enough. If at all you want to give more specific details about dependency, what kind of dependency is existing, what are the different flavors of dependency. So that is what we are going to learn in advanced relationships. Not only the dependency, the other flavors, what more we can give with respect to relationships in specific to a minute level. So all those things are going to be covered in this advanced relationships. Okay, and how these relationships are used in webs for modeling and for creating webs and all those things will be used. So they have given an example here, advanced relationships. So what are the things which are new for us in this diagram? So please point out. We have learnt already relationships, basic relationships in our basic building blocks. We learned some advancement of relationships in relationships chapter, and today we are learning about advanced relationships. So in this diagram, what are the new things for us? So I want everyone of you, any one of you or some of you, to point out what are the things which are new for us.
Stereotype or dependency.
Stereotype for dependency, yes. Friend stereotype, whatever is given here. So this is new for us. And then association navigation. We studied association, but we don't know what is association navigation. Yes? Okay, if the
Yes.
association is only unidirectional, then we call it as association navigation. And here this friend stereotype, so as a friend function how you have in C++, so if that kind of relationship is existing between the two classes as dependency, so that dependency flavor can be given as a friend stereotype. Okay, so and other things, multiple inheritance we have studied, realization we have studied. Okay, so the new things whatever we are seeing here, those are the details we are going to learn in this chapter. Okay, so the first part, so as every chapter is divided into two parts, so this chapter also is divided into two. The first part is about terminology, terms and concepts, terminology and concepts of advanced relationships. Okay, so under terms and concepts, what is the first basic thing about relationship? What you understand by a relationship? It's nothing but a connection. So we have all the logical things. See, every topic we go back to basic building blocks. From there again we start building. Okay, so we have things, relationships and diagrams, right? So the things whatever we have learned are to be grouped, are to be connected, are to be linked. So that connection or linking or grouping can be done through relationships. Okay, so that is the purpose of relationships. And the relationships we have discussed how many kinds of relationships and all. So graphically a relationship can be rendered as a path. Graphically a relationship can be rendered as a path. So based on the kind of relationship there may vary that path. If it is dependency, that path will be dotted line with arrow. If it is association, that path will be solid line. If it is generalization, solid line with halo arrow pointing. If it is realization, dashed line with halo pointing. So that's how the path is differentiated based on the relationship exists there. Okay, so let's learn in detail about each relationship. So the first one is about dependency. So till now many times I have repeated, again I am repeating. So dependency is nothing but if there is change in one thing, that change will affect the other thing also. Okay, so if that scenario exists, then we say it as dependency, and it is represented as a dashed line, dotted line, and directed to the thing that is depending on. So it has to be directed to on whom it is depending on. Okay, and these dependencies, those flavors are given in 17 stereotypes, which are organized into 6 groups. Okay, there are 17 different types of stereotypes for dependency, and which are grouped into 6 groups. Okay, so let's learn each one. So the first group is nothing but it's the dependency relationship among classes and objects. Classes and objects in class diagram. So among classes and objects, if there is dependency, what type of dependency, if you want to be more specific or you want to give the flavor of that dependency, then that can be given in 8 stereotypes. Okay, so let's see what are the 8 stereotypes. The first stereotype is bind. Okay, so it specifies that the source initiates the target. So whoever is initiating the target using the given actual parameters. So you have calling function, called function, right? So who is the initiator there? Calling function. So there will be some initiator. So that initiator is going to initiate the function to be executed there by going to its definition. So in such scenario, if any such scenario between 2 classes or objects is there, then we can give bind stereotype. Second stereotype among classes and objects is derive. Specify the source may be computed from the target. If any two classes are there, two objects are there, if one object can be derived or can be achieved, can be performed by using the first source one from target one, then we call it as derived. Okay. If one source can be computed from target, then we can say it as derived dependency. Derived stereotype for that dependency. Okay. So here the example is given. A person class might have the attribute birth date. Okay, and which is concrete, and attribute age derived from the birth date. Is that clear? So while giving your some of the applications, they may ask you to give your date of birth. Maybe you may not understand why they are asking there, but from that they are going to get the information of your age. You might be giving the year which year you have born, and whatever is the current year. So they just see the difference and they are going to get the age. Okay, so that's how the birth age can be derived from the birth date. Okay, so and similarly the next stereotype we have for dependency, that is specify the source is given special visibility into the target. This is just like a friend functions how you have in C++. Okay, C++ friend classes. And instance of. So we have seen this instance of. Source object is an instance of the target classifier. Here classifier means any of the advanced class. We have learned 7, right? So among that this classifier can be any among those 7. So the object can be instance of any of the target classifier. And instantiate, it's going to start, create, initiate. That is what instantiate. The source creates the instance of the target. And the next one we have, 6th one, power type. This we have seen in the last class. Power type, parent-child relationship. The target is a power type of the source, and power type is a classifier whose objects are all the children of the given parent. Okay, so power type. And then refine. Refine when we use, when two classes or two objects, if one among them is having the finer degree of abstraction than the target, then we can give the flavor for the dependency as refined. Okay, and the next one is 8th one, use. Semantics of the source element depends on the semantics of public parts of the target. So when we are giving the public parts, so it can be used by the dependency class also. That is what the general use. Public parts, it can be used by anyone. So when such scenario is there for dependency, then we can use stereotype there. Okay, so these are the 8 stereotypes which can be given for a dependency relationship among classes and objects. This is the first group. Okay, moving on to the second group, we can also give stereotypes for the dependency relationship among packages. Among packages. Say here, packages maybe we might have come across in our programming languages what we have studied in the previous semester. So mostly with respect to packages, what is the thing we might have used? Import. Yes or no? The packages we are going to import to our code so that during execution time they will be linked and the program will be executed. Okay. So with that scenario, when two packages are there, what are the two kinds of dependency flavors you can give, or two types of dependencies you can give among packages is, one is access and the other one is import. Access means source package is granted the right. So the source package is granted the right to reference the elements of the target package. Then we call it as access. And when we use import, specifies the public contents of the target packages enter the flat namespace of the source as if they have declared in the source itself. Yes or no? So in a programming language, when we say import java.awt, so likewise you have some packages you might have imported. But during execution time, are you knowing that these packages are imported and all? As if it's there, along with your code only, it will be executed. Okay, so that is what import. So that is the second group with respect to packages. And the third group is with respect to use cases. And with respect to use cases, there are two stereotypes that apply to dependency relationship. Among two use cases, there can be dependency relationship. But what are the stereotypes we can give among the use cases? It can be
should be used. So here, for the left part as well as the right part,
Yes, ma'am. Excuse me. So there was some interruption, so let's continue. So here two stereotypes are there for applying dependency among use cases. Okay. So that can be extends or include. Okay. So extends means when the behavior among use cases extends, then we can say it as extends. Okay, I'll give you some example here. Two use cases means when you are borrowing a book from the library. Okay, so or taking a book from a library, issuing a book from library. Say issuing a book from the library is one use case. So some sequence of steps you have to follow to get a book from the library. Issue, that is one use case. Okay, so and the other use case is what could be the extended property of issuing a book. Maybe you might have to return that book within a week or 10 days, but you kept it till 1 month or maybe till exams, or maybe you are ready to pay the fine and keep it with you. So when such use case is there, the extended properties of it, if it is having some extended properties, then we can give it as another use case, and there we can give the dependency, and the dependency flavor we can give as extend. That is one. So one more simple example I say. When you are talking in a call, when you are taking a call, you got another call. Okay, taking a call is one use case. In order to do that purpose, you are doing some steps. That is one use case. But if you are getting one more call there, what you do, you keep this in hold, you talk to the next person, or else you make the other person also to join the group for the conversation. So that is the extended property of the basic call. Okay, in such scenario we give extend. And the second stereotype among use cases is include. Okay, when we can give include, say suppose when you are ordering a book product online shopping. So when you are ordering, so directly you may not order. It is going to take the details of yours. Okay, so ordering a book will have some inclusions or some behavior which is already embedded in that. They may check whether you are a valid user or whether your card is valid or not. So in such scenario we say include. Or else the other one more example I'll tell you. When you go to a library to get a book issued, so simply you don't get book issued, right? If some person from outside, if he comes and asks to issue a book from our library, will they give? No. So what is included there? The student of Loyola, ID card, your details, everything is included, though it's not taken again. So in such scenario, when few things are already within that, which are meant by default, so such things we call them as include. Is that clear? Extend and include. When some properties have to be extended based on the source, then we can use extend. Include, the things are already included within the source. In such case we use include. Okay, so and then the next group is among objects. Only among objects. If you want to model the interaction, so there are three stereotype flavors for dependency among objects. Okay, so that can be become, call and copy. See, for become example, I'll tell you some example here. Say the object of caterpillar. After some time, the same object is going to become a butterfly. Yes or no? So the source is the caterpillar, and by using become dependency stereotype, it is going to become as a butterfly object. So in such scenario, we say it as become. Okay, let's see the definition what's given here. Specifies that target is the same object as the source. It's the same object what is becoming butterfly, right? And but later point in time and with possibility different value, states or roles it may take. So the caterpillar only, the same object is going to become a butterfly in course of time. Okay, the source is the same thing, but only its form is going to change. And call, it specifies the source operation invokes the target operation. It's something like a function call. When you are calling a function, so that function call will invoke the function definition. And then copy, so target object is an exact, but it's independent copy of the source. When you are copying, that means you are replicating, duplicating the copy. So one more exact of type we are creating. That is what we say it as copy. The original will retain. Okay, so moving on to the next one, the next group is about subsystems and models. Subsystems and models. So when we want to give dependency relationship among subsystems and models, so we can give only one stereotype for the dependency there. That is what? Trace. Okay, so if an individual have to be traced from which, what do you say, based on your historians, so ancestors, so which race you belong to and all that. So So in such scenario, we say it as trace. But with respect to our subject, it says that specifies the target is an historical ancestor of the source. Historical ancestor of the source. When such relation exists between subsystems and models, then we give the dependency flavor as trace. Okay. So this is about dependency and all the 17 stereotypes with respect to so the next relationship is about generalization. What is generalization? I want the answer from you. Many times I told you. What is generalization? When we give generalization?
Parent-child relationship.
Parent-child relationship or inheritance property exists, then we give generalization. What is the symbol of generalization? Graphical notation. Some other person I want to answer.
Hollow arrow.
Halo arrow. Okay, solid line with halo arrow pointing to parent. Okay, so here they are given some example. So let's see that quickly. So here if you see some account details are given here. So if you see for security, stock security and bond security. So under security, see these are the two types. So this diagram, okay, so stock and bond are the different types, so that's why we are giving the generalization relationship. And for real estate, so this is a kind of asset, security also kind of asset, bank account is a kind of asset. So under assets, so these are the three types. Okay, so that's why among these things they are giving as generalization, the different types, generalization. And under each one again they have subtypes. So bank account, it can be of checking account or savings account, so any type. So under any category of things, if types are there, then we can give generalization relationship. Similarly, with respect to bank account, not only the types of accounts, we may have interest bearing item or insurable item. So those things also can be given. Okay, but here our emphasis should be based on single inheritance and multiple inheritance. Anyone can tell me the difference between single inheritance and multiple inheritance? I told you before we get into the concepts of this details of this chapter. Single inheritance means?
One parent.
Yes, single parent. Multiple inheritance means?
Many parents.
Yes. Okay. So that is the difference between single and multiple inheritance. So those are the things which are highlighted here. Though we have studied this terminology in relationships chapter, so other than that, no more many things are there in specific. So that's why the same thing is given by giving a diagram in advanced relationships also. Okay, so let's see. There are some adornments, unadorned generalization relationships. Okay, is sufficient for most of the inheritance relationships, and that defines one stereotype and four constraints. So there are one stereotype and four constraints. So let's see which are applicable for generalization. For generalization relationships, one stereotype and four constraints are given. Okay. So under generalization, we are studying these things. So one stereotype, whatever I was saying as one stereotype, so that one stereotype is nothing but implementation. Okay. So when you can use this implementation relationship, so when you have inheritance, this one, generalization property, generalization means parent-child relationship only. Parent may have abstract methods and child may have concrete methods to implement that. Okay, so in such scenario we say implementation. Okay, so let's see the definition of this. Specifies that child inherits the implementation of the parent, but does not make public or nor supports its interface, thereby violating substantiability. So that is nothing but overriding the methods of the parent. Okay, so that is what the implementation. And then moving on to the second part, 4 constraints. We have seen the one stereotype which is applicable to generalization and 4 constraints which are applicable to generalization relationships. So the first, complete. Complete. So this constraint specifies that all the children in the generalization need to be specified in the model and that no additional children are permitted. Okay, it's something like a complete binary tree. Complete binary tree means the sequence, it starts with some number and that should be in sequence order and it should stop somewhere. Need not be full, but it should be complete. The serial order, it should be complete. Okay, so that is what we can say about complete. And then moving on to incomplete. Not all children in the generalization are specified. They need not be complete, and that additional children are permitted here. Since there is some space will be over there if it is not complete, since some space is there, so it can be added. So additional children are permitted. Okay, but here, whereas in complete, since the sequence is already complete, so no additional children are permitted. When it is complete constraint, so it's already complete and no additionals are permitted there. But whereas incomplete, since it is already incomplete, there is some space, so additional children are permitted here. Okay, disjoint. By seeing the name itself, disjoint means there is no commonality. When there is no commonality, so parent may not have more than one of the children as a type. One of the children as a type. And then the next constraint is about overlapping. So what is the general meaning of overlapping? So there is something which is in common. Okay, specifies that object of the parent may have more than one of the children as type. So more than one of the children as a type. But whereas here, no more than one of the children. So that is the difference here. So here in disjoint, no more than one of the children as type. But here in overlapping, more than one of the children as type. Okay. So these are the details given about generalization. So in generalization, what things we have learned now? So the diagram of the financial things where static, not static, single inheritance and multiple inheritance we have specified, and then one stereotype and 4 constraints we have learned under generalization in advanced relationships. So the next relationship is about association. Okay, so under association, so their association, as you know, it's the relationship between 2 things. We give it as association. When there is no prioritized things among 2 things, then we give the general relationship as association. So, but here we have 4 basic adornments. 4 basic adornments. So this we can give it as a name. Okay, employee works for So works for can be the name there. And role, employee, employer. The examples what we have studied already. So that's I'm just reminding you. And multiplicity, how many instances of one object is interacting with the how many instances of the other. Aggregation, whole part relationship. So these are the adornments what we have studied under association, if you remember. And aggregation, how do we give? Solid line with diamond halo pointing. Okay, that is aggregation, whole part relationships. And then moving on to the advanced concepts of association here. Navigation. Say suppose, if you see this example, user and password. Okay, between user and password, I just give only the association. So what does that mean? User can create password and password can create user. Password can create user, is it correct? No. So that association in such scenarios, I want to make it specific, saying that in only one direction it has to work. So at that time I make this association as a unidirectional. If we don't give any arrow, when we give the general association, it is both the ways. But when you want to make it only one way, then we need to give the arrow like this. So that is what we call it as association navigation. Okay, here one user, I am talking about the multiplicity and role names here. One user who is the owner is going to give many passwords for his many accounts, or either bank accounts or email accounts or whatever may be the account. For that he is going to give many passwords as he wishes. Okay. So in such scenario, when we are going to make the association as unidirectional, such unidirectional of association, we call it as association navigation. Okay, hope this is clear. The next one is about visibility. Okay, so the visibility under classes for attributes and operations. So we give the visibility as public, private and protected for attributes and operations. If any attribute it has to be public, we give plus. If any operation, if it has to be private, we give minus, or any attribute if at all we want to give as protected, we give hash. In the similar way, not only giving the accessibility for attributes and operations, but also we can give the visibility for few more things. So what are those? We'll just see in this example. So we have just seen the user and password example in the previous one. So here one more class is added as user group. So many users can be, many user groups can have many users. Okay, and these users, and one among this user can have many passwords. So the user, whoever is the user who is having many passwords, can be said as owner, and this owner is public. Say suppose you are having Gmail or Yahoo or whatever, your email is public, and by seeing the mail ID we can say that who is the owner. So your mail ID is public and we can say the owner of that ID. But whereas your password, the password is nothing but the key what you are entering there. So that is private to the owner. That's why we are giving it as minus here, minus key. The password is private to the user. You don't reveal your password to anyone, right? It's private for yourself. But whereas your ID, email ID is public, which can be shared among your groups, friends and any circle. But whereas password is private for yourself, for your accessibility. Okay. And then here in user groups there are many users, and all the users in each group, who are the users is public. Say if you take WhatsApp groups, so in a particular group, who are all the users? it is meant as public. If you go to the group info, you are able to see who are all the users. So it can be made as public. So such things we can call it as association visibility. Association visibility. Did you understand? The visibility not only can be given for attributes and operations, but also visibility can be given for association adornments too. Okay, such things are called as association visibility. Hope this is clear, or any doubts, any clarification you need, just confirm, one of you. Is it okay? Shall I continue with the next one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the next one we have qualification. Okay, so for a particular employee, see, I am an employee here, but based on the qualification, maybe our designations will be different. Okay, so likewise we can give the qualification, qualifier. So that is what this example, you can just concentrate here. Work desk is a class, and the qualifier can be attached to a class in this way. Okay, job ID and integer. So by seeing the job ID, what is his qualification or the designation within the workplace can be understood. Okay, based on the designations and based on the qualification, the designations will be decided based on the what work they are doing. Accordingly, job IDs are given. Okay, and that job IDs are attached to work desk. What type of work we are doing. That is what we call it as a qualifier. Okay, and this is the general association where in work desk with different job IDs, so many job IDs are working for 0 to 1 returned item. Okay, so that is the example I can say here. So you just concentrate on the qualifier. So the next example is interface specifier. Using what interface you are going to implement. Using what interface you are going to implement. Always an interface is an abstract. It just shows the service. But that service has to be utilized by some concrete methods, by someone. Okay? The interface may not exist alone. Okay, it has to be used by someone, then only the implementation can be carried out. Say here, a person is there. Person can be one person or many persons. Okay, so among persons, there can be many employees. That is what we are specifying here. Persons means workers. So we are specifying interface specifier for this. Person can be a worker, and I employee means interface specifier. Okay, so there can be many persons. Among many persons, only one can be the supervisor. And for supervisor, interface manager is implemented. Maybe if our salaries are automated, so they may have the interfaces based on the employee ID. The salaries can be calculated, or hikes can be given, or any other preferences, or any other additions if at all they want to give. So they can specify in the interface. But when it is connected to a particular person with some ID, so that can be implemented. Is this clear? Interface specifiers.
Yes, ma'am.
The next one is about composition. So many times I told you this. So whole part relationships. Window is a class and frame is a frame of the window. But among the whole class, if any of the subparts are to be prioritized, then we can prioritize as composition. If we don't bold this, that is called aggregation. If we bold this, then it is composition. Okay, and the aggregation symbol wherever is we have to give, so there should exist whole part relationship. And this whole part relationship, if at all you want to make it more specific, then you can make it as bold, and that is called composition. Okay. And then association classes. So here, association class means if at all any two classes are associated and their relationship of association, if one more class exists, then we call it as association class. Okay, so let's see this example, it will be more clear. Say suppose you have a company and a person. So these two classes are related by using the association relationship. So that means what we can say, company can give many, company is an employer who can give employment to many persons. Okay, and many employees can work, one or many employees can work for many companies. Okay, so that's how we relate the role names and the cardinalities. And when company and person are related using association, so what is that association class which is associating these two? Which is job. Is there any other relationship here? Okay, so that is what the main prioritized relation, what is existing between a company and a person, which is job. Okay, what is the relation exists between a lecturer and a student? Your academics or your career or your degree certification. Okay, so that could be the association class. So that's how we can relate association class. So here in this example between company and a person, the association class can be job. Okay, professionalism, only job, no personal details or any other things in the workplace. So only job. Okay, and those are descriptions. So when he was hired, what is his salary, what are the descriptions, and during joining, what are the details or bonding or temporary, permanent, all the details can be specified about that job. That is what the description. So such thing we can call it as association class. To the next one, constraints. All these things we are learning under association only. But in the examination, when a question is asked, you should be clear with the general basic relationships you have to remember, just relationships you have to remember, advanced relationships you have to remember. If at all advanced relationship is asked, it will be directly asked for 20 marks. If only relationships are asked, it could be 10 to 15 marks. Only just giving what are the relationships and just giving simple details of them, what we have learned in basic building blocks, that could be for 5 marks. So based on the marks, you are going to write each topic. But advanced relationships, they will ask you clearly in the question that write off advanced relationships which exist in UML. So at that time you have to talk about each relationship and what are the advanced things in that you have to write. If the question is just explain the relationships means, so the relationships chapter what we have learned, that you have to give. Okay, is that clear? So please make the difference of how the questions will be asked and what content should be written under that. Okay, and the next one is constraint. So many times I told you constraint is something, a condition. Okay, so in order to distinguish or differentiate association in real time or conceptual, so here we are going to have 5 types of constraints. In order to distinguish the association, we have 5 different types of constraints, conditions, which are applied among the association relationships. So the first one, implicit. When we can say implicit condition for association relationships is when it specifies that relationship is not manifest, but rather it is only conception. See, here you need to understand what is conceptual and what is physical or real. Conceptual means which are the logical things which you cannot physically view or touch and see. Okay? Conceptual ones are the logical things, what we call it as the interface, what we call as a class, what we call as an object, all the logical things which are called as conceptual. Okay? So when such things exist, we call it as implicit. And then ordered. Okay? Well, the second condition which can exist between two things when we use association, so it can be ordered, which specifies that set of objects at one end of the association is an explicit order. Explicit order. Okay. So it's they have given some example as user and password association. And the next one, changeable. The meaning changeable itself clearly means that you can change, you can add, you can remove, you can change freely. Okay. And then add only, we have seen this. Where we have seen changeable, add only and frozen. Anyone? String properties under attribute syntax. Okay. Changeable, it can be changed. Add only extra additions are allowed. No deletion or editing, nothing can be done. Frozen, it's fixed. Okay, no editing, nothing is allowed there. XOR, so it specifies over a set of association exactly one is manifest. Manifest here means mandatory for each associated object. There are many subheadings and many things, but these are the ones which are listed out. So accordingly we have to learn this. Okay. And then realization. The next fourth relationship is about realization. So the realization between two classifiers is nothing but if one assigns some job, the other one guarantees that it can be carried out. Or we say the interface realization. Okay, using an interface we can implement some class. Okay, so that's how we can say the realization. And here some examples are given. Let's go through realization of interfaces. So here two classes are there. Okay, account business rules, and here if you see it is an interface only. But what is the representation of an interface? It's a circle. Yes or no? Circle, simple form, elided form we call. In elided or simple form, we just give interface as a circle by naming its text and preceded with I, saying it as an interface. Okay? And that is connected to whichever .exe, .dll or .exes or components, classes where through which it can be realized, to that it will be connected to. But if at all an interface have more details of it to be specifically given, in this simple form of circle here I cannot show what exactly the actions performed by this. In such scenario, when you want to give the details of an interface in detail, then we go to canonical form or expanded form of an interface. This is the simple form or elided form we say giving a circle. And when we want to give the details of it, we can give an interface in an expanded or canonical form we say, where we can give interface as a stereotype for a class and give the interface name preceded with I, saying it as an interface, or we can make out by saying the stereotype also, and we can specify all the methods of it. So here interface of rule agent. So this rule agent are have the abstract methods of this: add rule, change rule, explain action. So the abstraction of this are there. So these abstract methods can be implemented by using account business rules. So all the descriptions are given here. So this can be realized through this interface. All the business rules can be implemented using this interface, or all the employees can be paid their salaries by using the salaries interface. Okay, so that's what we call it as realization. And here you need to just remember only one thing: when we use simple form of an interface and when we use the expanded form of an interface. Based on the application of it, you have to decide which one it has to be used. And then the realization can be between two use cases also. Okay, where we have validate user or validation. Okay, validation can be realized through by validating a user. That is the relationship existing between the two use cases. And then moving on to the second part of this chapter, common modeling techniques. Modeling webs of relationships. So in a vocabulary of complex systems, how you can model the different kinds of relationships in web. So for which first you need to begin as a starting point, apply the use cases and scenarios given there, and then you have to start modeling by the structural relationships that are present. So you know what are all the structural and behavioral things and their relationships, and now identify the attributes of generalization by specifying their relationships. And after completing the previous steps, and then you have to represent more semantic connections. So what are all the advanced relationships we have learned? If they are applicable, we can give. And for each kind of relationship, start with basic form and then apply advanced features. Okay, say suppose if at all I want to give association, just first give association, and then based on the scenario, you see what adornments you can give, what role name you can give, what direction, the other things what we have learned in this chapter. Okay, and then the other things here we can build on the system by considering with the different perspective views of the system. So how exactly you are viewing that, and highlighting the interesting sets and the relationships of the individual diagrams. So by drawing the individual diagram, so easily we can make out the modeling of complex webs and their relationships. So before they start building any project, so these are all the things which are used before. Okay, see in programming languages, if you are thinking of some code to be implemented in any programming language, you just think of algorithm. What are the steps, how it has to be done and all. Okay, so similarly here, when you want to implement some project, in the analysis phase itself, they are going to draw all the diagrams, what exactly at each level. Okay, at a high level, low level of abstractions. So all these details are collected. Then only they go further and start implementing. Okay, so these are the concepts which are there in the advanced relationships chapter.